right, good morning everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Couple things. First, 14,000 subscribers as of this morning. It's awesome. Thank you guys very much. The channel has finally reached the point where it's no longer just generating a tiny bit of revenue and just to sort of justify the hobby. It's actually, the revenue is showing up on the radar as something that is substantial enough that I think I can put some more effort into the channel. So to that end, I am researching a few things. You guys know that I've lowered and changed my screen, and many of you guys know that I bought a used Model 3 steering wheel that I have modified, that's right now having foam work done and being reupholstered. So I'm going to be moving forward on doing more modifications on the car. The car has over almost 51,000 miles on it at this point. So I'm out of the bumper-to-bumper warranty, though I'm still under the 120,000 mile powertrain warranty. But so those things sort of corresponding, the channel earning a bit more revenue on top of my car being out of warranty, I now feel free to do more performance and modifications and just other convenience mods and that to the car. So keep your eye on the channel for that. Questions that people have had that I want to answer. First off, since the car is now out of the bumper-to-bumper warranty and I've been modifying things, specifically the screen and steering wheel, I've also, for those of you that don't know, I'm running 20-inch aftermarket wheels and Falcon tires. And I have T-Sport line 1-inch lowering suspension springs on it, and I obviously had it the suspension realigned once it was lowered. I've had a lot of people ask questions about voiding warranty from doing aftermarket work. So first off, I'm not an expert in the field. Second of all, I'm willing to take the risk on things like that. So, but it's a reasonable question. And every manufacturer handles things like this differently. But I got to tell you, there's no, it's pretty much the same if you do something like purchase one of my screen mounts to lower and adjust the screen, or if you buy, you know, the T-Sport line lowering springs like I did, or maybe unplugged performance, you know, camber arms or suspension parts or whatever. What happens in most instances, you will void the warranty related to that specific component. So case in point, if you put aftermarket springs in the car and then you have an issue with one of the springs, well, it's a non-Tesla spring, so they wouldn't warranty that aftermarket spring. Or if you, I don't know, if you change the steering wheel and maybe the thumb wheels stop working or something, and you know, maybe Tesla could argue that since you have an aftermarket modified steering wheel, that the thumb wheels are on it, maybe they won't cover it. But it's not like if you put suspension springs on the car and then all of a sudden you have an issue with your air conditioning not working. Suspension springs has nothing to do with the air conditioning, so that it's not like once you make one change to the car, it voids every single article of your warranty. That's not the case. So a couple people had asked about installing the adjustable screen mount on their car. Would it void the warranty on the screen? Well, that's a good question, and honestly, I don't know. I could see it going both ways. I could see Tesla saying, well, good grief, it's just a mount, it doesn't affect the electronics. I could see them saying, well, you dickered with the thing, you messed around with it, and you damaged it. You know, I don't know. I can tell you that I did some research on this, and worst case scenario, if you had a problem with your screen and you have my screen mount installed, you've got two options. Well, there's three options. One is you can just have Tesla work on it, and you know, hopefully they won't complain about the screen mount. In fact, depending on the dealership you go to, they may say, hey, that's a kind of a cool thing. Where'd you get that part? I love it. I don't know. Or they could not warranty it, or they could not say anything and still fix it. I don't know. But option number two, it's only about a 10-minute job to install this mount. I mean, the first time you do it, it might take you longer because you're scratching your head figuring it out. But once you have installed the mount, it would only take about 10 minutes to return the car completely stock. So let's say you have a glitch with the screen. There's hieroglyphics on the screen, it won't go away, or some other thing, the screen is blank or whatever, and you need to have it warrantied. you could just pull the screen off, pull the mount off, and put it back to stock configuration before the car goes in for service, or before the mobile service team comes to your home. The other option is if you did damage the screen or whatever, I looked around, and there's, at least when I looked the other day, there were 2 or 3 used Model 3 screens in perfect condition on eBay for $600 to $700. I think 2 of them were like $650 or something, and one was $700. So not cheap, but not $2,000 to $3,000 that it would be if you brought the car into Tesla to have a new screen put on. So in fact, part of me is kind of kicking around the idea of purchasing a used Model 3 screen, and possibly even the framework, the metal framework behind the dash that the screen would fasten to, so that I can set up a rig on the bench, on my workbench, to do videos on the screen mount and whatever. So I considered it already, also just to kind of mess around with it. I'd love to be able to do more experimentation without experimentation on the screen itself, without risking my personal screen. So that's why I looked into it. So those are some thoughts there. Let's see here. I have not had any other issues, whatever it was, 500 miles, 400 miles ago, that my car shut down and it was hard to get it to restart. And we've been assuming it was a 12-volt battery issue, because I had one of the many errors I had on the screen was 12-volt system low. But I've had none of that come back. That glitch was preceded by the autopilot and cruise control not working, which it's working just fine. It has been working ever since. The audio didn't work. There's just a bunch of things that didn't work, but all of that stuff's working. None of it's glitched. So I don't know. A replacement battery for this thing is $259 for the stock battery. An aftermarket battery is going to be anywhere from $450 to close to $700, depending on the battery that you get. So it's not a cheap thing. It's not like a Ford or Chevy where the 12-volt battery is $85 and you get it and you put it in 5 minutes and you're done. This is expensive. So now I don't want to get stranded, but I also don't want to blow $250 minimum on a battery that I don't need. So I'll probably go in and have the battery load tested just to make sure, to find out if it's the battery or not. But so far that's been good. Let's see here. Oh, people have asked me, what do I have coming up? A couple of things. More videos on the screen mount, especially as we move toward production. You guys have, many people have trusted me with a deposit, and you don't know me personally, so I want to keep you guys apprised of how the production's going on the screen mount. Also, I've mentioned the steering wheel. I'd love to acquire a couple more steering wheels and do some experimentation, maybe even sell a few steering wheels. If I make 3 or 4 different iterations of modified steering wheels, make them available, I don't know, but I want to do more steering wheel experimentation. I've considered making a sort of a fighter style steering wheel with the thumb wheels up at the top, almost like missile launching buttons on the yoke of a jet. And so I've considered a number of things. The current wheel I'm having done right now is flat on the bottom, curves up, and then stops right about where the stitching is here. So kind of like a go-kart, Formula 1 inspired steering wheel. And so another thing is, I don't really like this wood grain. I'm not against wood grain, but it's the only wood grain item in the car. And I don't believe in doing faux finishes like fake wood grain here or there to carry the theme. I also don't like fake carbon fiber, nor do I want to spend $500 on a real carbon fiber panel when it's really doing nothing but look like carbon fiber. So I've considered wrapping this in black Alcantara to match the door panels and the bottom part of the steering wheel. Maybe even have it wrapped in Alcantara and have a few seams stitched in, even though they're not needed, but stitched in red. I'm going to have red stitching on the steering wheel. I've considered just having it painted black. There are several wraps you can get. I got this satin center console wrap, and I can get another satin black dashboard wrap. But I definitely want to have a non-organic synthetic look to the car, so I don't necessarily like the wood on there, but that's just my own that's subjective. My son loves it. He's like, Dad, don't cover that. That's great. But I personally, I'd rather have a non-wood look to my dash. A couple people had asked if the top edge of the screen is level or not, because depending on the screen angle, it looks like it's leaning one way or leaning the other, and that's a bit of an optical illusion based on the fact that the screen is rotated. So depending on the sight lines and the angle up or down you're looking at it, it may look like it's leaning one way or another. But it is perfectly level. If you put a level across, if the car's parked on a level surface and you put a level across the top, it's perfectly level. I mean, perfectly level. In fact, if I sight across it and get my head centered right level with the top of the screen and sight across it, it's perfectly even with the black edge of the windshield up front there. So yes, that is level. Let me think here. What were some other questions? Other mods that I'd like to do to the car. Some of that depends on a few things. I've considered, now that I have an interior shop that's doing my steering wheel that I trust, I've considered having the center armrest here wrapped, reupholstered, potentially black leather on the top, Alcantara on the sides with red stitching. I even considered having an extension made because I like to lay my arm completely flat on it, especially in autopilot, and it hangs. Plus, for work, my clipboard I set here to write things, and normally I have to have it scooted way back so I can write, but it would be nice to be able to lay it further forward and be able to write things down. So I've considered that. Let's see here. People have asked if there's any other modifications that I plan on marketing. I don't know. I've got a few more ideas for the screen that are related to keeping the screen cool, as well as just some other cool functional things. So I might become the aftermarket Model 3 screen guy. I don't know. But I can tell you that I've got, since modifying the screen mount, it has sparked other potential aftermarket ideas for me. What else? I've had several people sit in the car, and everybody pretty much universally says that, well, the screen definitely pitched to the side is more driver focused. When you lower the screen, a few people asked, well, isn't it you have to look a lot further down? You got to remember, it's a little less than 2 inches drop. So the speedometer, it only changes a little bit. The reason that I dropped it, for those of you that didn't watch the first video, a couple things. First, in Tesla's promotional images that they sent to those of us that pre-ordered Model 3s, it showed a cut top, flat bottom steering wheel, and a screen that was very low and raked further forward, more sporty look. And the car was also lowered with 20-inch wheels and tinted windows, and I'd like to sort of emulate that look. So that was part of it. Another part of it is I like to be able to see the whole dash. And even though it's only lowered a couple inches, it used to block the entire dash. The entire, it went all the way up to the bottom edge of the windshield from my sight line. And I didn't like that. I want to be able, I don't know, I felt like it was this big barrier in front of me, and it was very vertical. So it was this weird, like, billboard thing. So I wanted to lower it down and rake it forward for a cleaner look. And then I had a bunch of people request that I pitch it to the side, so I pitched it to the side. It is adjustable. The same mount, it can be left, right, parallel with the dash, or adjustable, pitched to the side at various degrees, for those of you that are curious. So, but I've had several people sit in the car, and all of them have liked it, said it's more driver focused. I have found that there is no additional distraction because, again, you're already looking to the right to see the speed limit or the speedometer, so it's not a problem there. And it is the car feels more open. Now, I can appreciate that it's a subjective thing, so whatever. It's up to each individual. Sitting in the passenger seat, this corner is closer to the passenger, whatever it is, an inch and a half or something closer. That being said, I don't know that it's an issue, but it is closer. It's not pitched far enough to the side to be an issue for the passenger. My wife was in the car with me yesterday. She was messing with the screen, and she said it was totally fine for her. You can still see the screen fine from the back seat as well. Let's see here. Other thoughts. I got to tell you, there's a few things about the Model 3 that I'm enjoying, and there are definitely items that I would change about the car. In the almost 51,000 miles I've owned the car, I found that though the glass roof is beautiful and lovely and all that, and it is, they have a heat blocking coating on it, some heat does make it through, and the sun, though it's tinted, does bother me just a little bit. Personally, I think it's just, I don't know, I'd love to get a screen for the glass here that I would remove on days I feel like removing it, but that way I could have it up there. I find myself taking the visor and doing this to block the sun at different points, just because it's, I don't know, I like the glass roof in a lot of ways, but it's, on a hot sunny day, it gets a little old having the sun up there all the time. So anyway, those are my general thoughts, just things that people have asked me about, questions that I wanted to answer, as well as some additional information that I have not yet covered in my videos in the past. So anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you haven't seen the adjustable screen mount before, I'll go ahead and put a link to the video. Well, I've got a couple videos on it, but a link in the description below on the video that I show the prototype. And if you want to place an order, there's information in that video on placing an order. Anyway, I'm thrilled. Things are moving forward, and since I don't need the revenue from the YouTube channel to supplement my budget at all, I'm basically going to be pouring all of that revenue into cool stuff for the car. So that should provide you guys with additional content and make the channel a bit more interesting. I also plan on changing my intro and the format of my videos. So thanks a lot, guys. Have yourselves a great day, and keep an eye on the channel over the next couple weeks. Got some really cool stuff coming. So take it easy now. Bye-bye.